Good afternoon, everyone. The sound is okay, so we can start. Welcome to the third edition of the Connected Shopfloor Summit. For those who don't know me, I'm Catarina Afonso, Director of Business Development in ProGrow. I would like to thank you all for being here today. Sorry, I'm not used to use this. Let me ask, who was with us last year? Yes, I can see some familiar faces. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for coming again. This year, our theme is a question that is artificial industry or industrial intelligence. We will talk a little bit about that. Through the day, we'll explore how data, automation, and AI are coming together to create smarter, more adaptive, and more sustainable factories. So we'll start with a presentation about AI and digital systems in the industry, followed by a roundtable discussion, a coffee break, and then a case study from Withdrawn. After that, we'll have a special announcement from Marco, and we'll reveal the winner of our giveaway. And of course, we'll have our champagne hour, where you can relax, network, and enjoy some snacks. So let's start it. Please join me in welcoming Ignacio, who will kick off the day with a presentation on AI and digital systems and industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as Catarina has said, my name is Ignacio Jimenez. I'm the CEO of EasyTech, that is a technological company based in the Basque Country and Catalonia. We are the local partners of ProGrow in Spain. The speech that I'm going to give relates about artificial intelligence and digital systems and its appliance to industry. Okay, so, well, this is the index. As long as we have 20 minutes, I will go a bit faster. This is the objective, a pragmatic approach of how to implement these techniques to the industry sector. Okay. First, I have written some data, some, let's say, precedents, which things are happening now relating AI. I have a friend that is the head of a software development in a multinational French company. And this friend of mine has the instructions of the CEO of his company. The instruction is to reduce a 200 people software development department to 100 people. This is a fact. This is nothing. Simply, he has this instruction. Apply AI techniques to reduce to a 50% of the software development. This is something frightening, and this is not something that will come. This is something that is happening right now. You all know all things that I have written here. I don't know, even doctors are talking about making first diagnosis to patients with AI systems. And also in the justice departments and judges, they are talking about writing sentences being assisted by AI system. And this is something that is happening now. And I don't know, even in, I've said there, literary contests, even in this case, they are worried, people that evaluate the literary tale, they are worried because they are afraid of giving a prize to an AI-generated tale, because it's very difficult to distinguish from a human being tale. So these things are happening now. Okay. I say, okay, is this really a knowledge revolution? There are people that say that this is like when internet came, that everybody said, okay, this is it will have a big impact, but afterwards it wasn't that big. This is not the case. This is, take my word, this is really a knowledge revolution, really. In the next years, very many tasks that involve intellectual tasks, that involve intellectual human being, they will be substituted by AI techniques. Why? Because they are faster, and very probably they are even more accurate because they consider very many data. So this is going to happen, and this will affect to millions of people. In the industry sector, it will happen the same because this involves many tasks that are being implemented by human beings in the industry sector. So all the managers will have in his table, okay, what happens if I substitute this by this? This is something very frightening, in my opinion. I have included here also digital systems, just to make clear. When I say digital systems in industry, they're very important. I mean those systems that are web-based instead of old systems that are customer service-based with local data, etc. I'm talking about web-based systems with IoT devices, data in the cloud, SaaS approach, etc. This is also a revolution because it's a very big difference between digital systems to old systems. They will all evolve to digital systems in industry. I'm talking about ERP, CRM, planning, stores, those type of systems that are being used now. They will be substituted by, but in my opinion, this process will be not so fast as AI techniques, okay? Will not be so fast. So this is also a revolution, but it will take more time. So it's not so worrying. Okay, how is industry today? Before talking about how to implement these techniques, how is industry today? Well, of course, this is not easy to answer because there are statistics for many people, and some say one thing and another say another thing. But in my opinion, the users of technology based in AI techniques are now very many people, especially young people. Let me tell you one thing. I was in an aerospace company a couple of weeks ago, and I was reviewing. They have a very extensive software department, and I just have a walk. I was reviewing the processes, and the developers, they have two screens, two big screens. In one screen, they have the code that they are generating, and in the other screen, in parallel, they have the AI code. And they work at the same time. They just give the instruction to the AI device, and then they copy, modify, and finish the code. So these AI techniques, I'm talking about, in this case, generative techniques, okay? You know, the chatbots and everything. These are really have a place in industry. But the other side of the AI, that is the, let's say, algorithm based in AI techniques, expert system, neural networks, big data analysis, this type of AI techniques are not being used at the moment. That is my opinion. So, well, this is the same. How can I implement, let's go, how can I implement these technologies? This is the key of the speech. Well, if I were a manager of an industry factory, I'm talking about industry now only, well, the first thing to understand is that implementing this type of techniques is not an immediate process. I'm saying this because sometimes, you know, probably like me, very many people that say, okay, this is AI techniques are able to make this. I want this in my company. Okay, so they generate automatically videos or something. Okay, I will use this in my company. That is not the point. I'm talking about a professional approach. I'm talking about digital systems and AI techniques, how to put them into work in the industry. So what I would do, what I recommend is, first, 2 steps. The number 2, develop an initial plan. An initial plan or a preliminary plan is, and this is the most important thing of the slide, general department improves to achieve. What does that mean? That means that if I want to implement some techniques in my company, first I have to identify my problems, not the things that AI does, but my problems, my areas of improvement. That doesn't have anything to do with techniques. This is the most important thing. If I identify the general improvements that I desire, I have, I don't know, a sales problem, or I don't know how to deliver the parts. If I identify that, then I can say, okay, to solve this, what do I need? Okay, I need some techniques. And then I would do a rough analysis, a preliminary analysis, considering that each technique solves one problem. And if that technique solves one problem, I can make a rough analysis of the cost of the technique. Everybody knows the costs, more or less. If you ask me, I can tell you. I mean, many people know that. But also the benefit. So if I compare costs and benefits, I have the return on investment. And so in this first step, that it's a very rough analysis, a very approximate analysis, in this step, I have things I want to mend, things I want to achieve, which what techniques, and a ROI analysis for each of the cases. After that, what you can do is, considering the areas that have a very good return on investment, I analyze each technique. And here, I, of course, analyze a technique in detail. What tool do I need? Okay. After that, I identify the information and data required to operate. This is very important because this, in general, digital system, but specifically AI techniques, are very sensible to input data. So if they have a very good input data, they generate very good output data. But if the data you are entering is not good, even though the algorithm is very intelligent, it's worthless. It's not a good thing. So we have to specify not only the detail of the tool, but the detailed information that it needs. After that, I create a project plan. This is quite easy. I mean, if I know which is the problem and which is the tool, I can, one professional can make very quickly a project plan with, but you have to make it, of course, with tasks, resources, money, etc. After making these two steps, I have to prioritize and organize projects. So if I have 3 or 4 projects, as you know, you can't do everything at the same time. That's pretty impossible. It's simply impossible. You have to prioritize. First, which is the most important for my company? This seems to be obvious, but it is not that obvious. People sometimes begin with the easiest, which is, no, I can make this in 1 month. Okay, I begin. No, you must consider which is the strategy, the problems, what you can solve. And after that, you have to sort all the projects considering the technical feasibility. What does this mean? This means that I can't, imagine a very quick example. I can't use a plan system, a scheduling system, if I don't have the orders that will be the input data for the plan system. So if I am going to make something in the sales department and the production departments, it is very obvious that I should begin with the sales department, because otherwise it makes no sense. In this case, this is very obvious, but there are many cases and many approaches and many areas, and some take data from different areas. So making this project plan is a kind of puzzle, and you have to be careful, okay? Okay, 5 minutes. Well, now tips and an example, and that is over. So first, tips, industrial company. We're talking about industrial system and also AI techniques. The most important digital system for an industry company is the ERP. This is well known, but it is important to remark, because this is the base for the rest of the system. Which is the problem of the ERP system? If you want to evolve from a customer service to a web-based, for instance, that many people want to do that, you have to take into account that this is a long process, more than 1 year, 1 to 2, and it's very expensive. So if I want to make very many things and I have very many areas, I have to consider this very slowly. Should I begin with this? If I begin with this, I stop the rest of the areas, or should I begin with the departments and after I change to an ERP? Okay, so this is, well, I just finished with this example. Imagine I have a bearing company, a manufacturing company, okay? So I have raw material, then I manufacture, I have machines, imagine I have machines, and then, I don't know, maybe I assemble some parts, and then I deliver that. That's a typical, I say bearing, but it doesn't matter, whatever is the product, the final product. In this case, which are the problems of the company? The problem of the company, first, is the sales department. They work in an international environment, and they have many salespeople. Each of them is in one different country. One is in Asia, another in China, another whatever. They deal with very many proposals, because there are many people in very different places. They have very many professional proposals, but it's very complex to make the follow-up of these proposals. They follow up only the, let's say, hot proposals, and the rest just they quit. You know. This is one problem for them. Besides, and because of this, they are not able to do a forecast of the sales that will be in 1 year, for instance. This is very critical for many people, because if you don't know how much you will sell, if you don't know that, you cannot know how many people you need or which will be the production needs. This is a big problem for many people. And also, these are two problems. And also, a third problem they have is that is very, very typical in industry. The industrial margin is very poor, is very, very small. This is the difference between the industrial cost and the customer price. You say, okay, so my margin is so little, I would like to make it bigger. Okay. These are the problems, as I said before. If we apply the methodology that I have described, what would be the result? It's just so you have an idea of what is the result. In this case, in the first year, I would implement a digital CRM, customer relationship management, so they can handle very many proposals in a centralized way. And this gives you warnings, etc. It's a good way to improve all sales ratios. Also, I would implement an AI algorithm to predict the planned sales, because these systems do that very well. They consider for each country all the economic situation of each country, all the proposals that I have done, and it generates a forecast of the sales that is much better than make it manually, much better, okay? So I would do this, because this is a problem, we have a solution, okay, I would do this. And I would do this in the first year. Also, in the second year, if they have a margin that is very small, what I would do, I install a shop floor control system with connection to machines, so I know the OEE of the machines, and I can give actions or make actions to improve that. If you improve the OEE, automatically you improve the margin. This is a direct, absolutely direct proportion. So this is another thing that I can do, and I solve that problem. I have even said something to include the chatbot web-based project, but this is interesting. In this case, this company, as long as they don't have a prediction of the sales, they are not able to make a good strategic plan. In this case, these AI generative techniques are good, and that could be done, and that would be a help. And supposing that they don't have an ERP web-based, what I would do is I would stop this evolution, but I would select in the first 2 years a new ERP, and I would put it into work in the 3rd year. So we solve problems, and we establish a good base for the future, okay? This is, I'm sure you like this, all managers like this. This is the cost analysis that I was talking about before, in this case. First year, CRM, this is the cost, and this is the benefit. Next year, it's the OEE, and the 3rd year, the ERP. These figures, total cost, 290, expected benefit, almost $1 million. But the good thing of making this, the good thing is that if I do this, I know that I can afford this. Why? Because in the very first year, I have some benefit, so I can pay the rest of the... So this is very important to make in this way, okay? Well, conclusions. First conclusion is that these AI techniques and digital systems are impossible to quit. We will have to do it. You may like it or not like it, but it's impossible to quit. And when you are, as a summary, when you are thinking about implementing these techniques, I recommend make yourself these questions. Which are my problems? This is the first one. Which are the techniques? ROI analysis, are they profitable? And then, which is the sequence that I need for my company? So finally, with these answers, I write a roadmap and simply follow it. Okay? So this is the end. Thank you very much for listening.